and welcome to the Golden Hour. I am Golden Duffy, your host, and this is also the host of the Manifest to Live Life Golden podcast and YouTube show. Today, we are talking about how to be ridiculously happy. Are you happy? Can you ask yourself that question and get really, really honest about what is blocking that happiness? Because there's always something in the way, and it usually has to do with your belief system and what you believe about what you're looking to manifest. If you believe that it's way off into the future, then it's way off into the future. If you believe more in the lack of it than you do of it actually, like if you're in that place of like hoping, you're getting there. Hope is getting there, but hope is not a super strong conduction. It's when you feel like everything that is happening is leading you to more. It's leading you to that ultimate goal of manifestation. And then the other piece of this is that, we never finish. Like, this life is all about expansion and growth. So as you're manifesting and as things are coming true for you and your life begins to up level, there's always going to be something more. We have this like unsatisfied thing that keeps us moving, that keeps us going forward, that keeps us striving to become our ultimate best or to have the best life experience. And if you don't feel that way, if you're feeling just kind of meh, which I don't think you'd be listening to this if that was the case. But in case it is, just in case you feel just like you're just getting by every day, you're just dragging and you're listening to this just to hear something that could potentially shift your energy, then you're in the vicinity of actually creating something new because you're opening your field up to possibilities just with this conversation, just by listening to this conversation. So how do you get ridiculously happy? The thing about being happy is if you are making it a conditional thing, like if things need to change, or if this person needs to act a certain way, or if, my ride to work needs to be a certain unfolding to be happy, or, there's so many things that are really out of our control. But the thing that's not out of our control is how we perceive it, how we believe about it, how we understand it, or if we are readying ourselves for worst case scenarios, which I'm telling you is such a habit. It is such a neural pathway that is so ingrained in so many of us that it takes a retraining. It takes a retraining of who you are and how you allow your mind to dwell, how you allow your mind to focus is what actually allows the next thing to happen. So your responses become everything. Because your response is like, what's happened today in your life? Like, right. I have been talking to a lot of people, and I'm hoping that I get to address that I do remember. Don't ever say don't forget. Say do remember, that I do remember to include everything. Because if you send me a message and you have something that you're working on, I will include it in the shows. And that's the coolest thing, is that we co-create this content together. And I love that, because otherwise, I am receiving information that I know the collective needs. But when it becomes something that I can actually build a show upon that you send to me, it's really very cool. So everything that's happened up until now is old news. It's old news. And what I've been noticing from a lot of the messaging that I've been doing with people is that, and I get it, because when you're connecting with me, you want me to have the full picture of where you've come from and what you've experienced and why you are the way you are. It's a justification, right? Whenever we're talking about our past, it's a justification, and it's often a poor me, right? And I'm not saying this in judgment. I love you all. I love that you message me. But when we are standing in our past and sharing what's the horrific things that happened in our past, or the traumatic things that happened in our past, yes, sometimes it's great to vent, and sometimes it creates resonance with people. If you are, getting an intuitive hit that you should share something that happened to you, that's great. But if you're doing it consistently with different people over time, and you just keep bringing up the past and all the horrible things you've gone through, you can't move forward, because you're in the vibration of that past. So in order to truly move forward, you've got to let that stuff go. You've got to stop talking about it. And I have a great example of this, which I think I've shared before, but my husband and I went through 2008, 2009. We went through this crazy financial time where we went through bankruptcy and car repossessions, and we ended up joining a network marketing company, and which was great. It really opened our eyes to a different world. And we still are with that company, but we don't actively pursue the business. If you got a Christmas card for me, though, that's where it came from. It's called Send Out Cards, and it was actually one of the most life-changing things I've ever been through, because up until that point, I was a stay-at-home mom, and it helped me to find my voice. It helped me to find law of attraction. It helped me to find the world at large, made me realize maybe I don't want to live in Connecticut for the rest of my life. So there were so many things, and I have so many beautiful friends and wonderful people that I met through that company. But what ended up happening is every single week we had this opportunity meeting, and we would share our story about the financial difficulties and how hard it was. And we just kept vibing with the struggle. And even though we were talking about how this company had changed our life and we were doing better, we were still very much in the struggle, which is one of the things that, eventually I couldn't deal with anymore, because it's not authentic. Like, it wasn't authentically what I was experiencing. We were, going to meetings and telling people how great it was, and we were unable to pay our bills. So, it's like, how authentic are we being and how real are we being? So that was something that eventually I needed to let go of, because it just didn't feel good anymore to be talking that way and to be expressing something that I felt like was untrue. But the whole point of me telling you that was, we were stuck in the struggle, and we were stuck talking about the struggle. And then we would find misery loves companies. Then we would find a whole bunch of people talking about their struggle. I mean, we cried at kitchen tables with people, and we thought, oh my God, this is great. We're helping people. But all the while, we were focused on what we didn't have. We were focused on our past and what the past had created. So the future is right now. Your future, actually, it's funny. That was one of our CEO's big sayings, was the future is now, which means the way you're creating the next moment starts now. So if you're dragging that past with you and talking about that past with you, you're going to keep experiencing things that are like it, which means failed relationships and loneliness and financial struggles and, not being able to lose weight. All of those things, that story that you're telling over and over and over again, becomes your vibration, and it becomes the signal that you continue to send out. So if you want to become ridiculously happy, you kind of got to just erase that stuff. You got to erase your past. You've got to let that stuff go. It doesn't mean that you don't process. Processing is very, very important. But it does mean that you stop connecting with it so much. Do the work, do the journaling, write about it. How can I heal from this? Please help me to heal. Not please help me, but allow me to heal from this. Allow me to receive the healing from this. There's healing energies in our universe, like across the board in all different dimensions. So when you call upon healing, the healing comes, and you can feel the energy coming through your body. In fact, I'm going to do a little exercise at the end that has to do with healing, because I'm really feeling this healing energy today that I called in myself in my meditation this morning. So in order to become ridiculously happy, we've got to clean the slate. How do we clean that slate? How do we erase that chalkboard? How do we put that past behind us so that it's not showing up in our everyday present experience? How do we move to onward and upward and leave that foundation of experience? Yes. Traumas, yes. But how do we leave it so that, yes, it's the fabric of our being, but it's not to the point where it's all that we are. And, I think really one of the major reasons why people do this is because they want to feel like they matter. They want people to see how strong they are. They want people to recognize how much they've been through. But a lot of that vibration in there is victim mentality, because it's like, look at all the terrible stuff that happened to me. Right? It's not taking the lessons and the expansion and the growth when you are continually speaking about the terrible things that happened. It doesn't allow for the full scope of healing and expansion and growth. So letting it go, waking up brand new and saying, this is a new day. I have a new opportunity. Now, the trick with that is The new day, the new opportunity is great. That's a great decision to make, but you've got all of this momentum. You've got this wave behind me, right? You're not going to stop the wave in the middle of the wave waving. You're not going to stop it. That's not how nature works, right? Like that's not how the nature of energy even works. So what you need to do is kind of allow the waves. My hair is like really sticking up today. Allow the waves to crash, allow the waves to still show you some momentum from the past. But now the way to not create that wave in the same way is to change the way you're responding to things. So maybe, maybe you've gone through financial hardships, and every time you get an unexpected bill, or every time you have to go to the vet, or every time you have to go to the doctors, or every time something happens, you freak out and you cry. Maybe you cry and you're like, oh my God, I don't know how we're going to do this. This is horrible. This is terrible. And you fret and you worry and you get anxious. That is going to keep beaming a signal to keep you broke, to keep you poor, because it doesn't allow for any new energy to be activated. So let's say you get an unexpected bill, or let's say it's really, really challenging right now and you've got $0, like you've got nothing in your bank account, or even your bank account is minus. The way to respond to an unexpected thing or something that you need to do or something that you need to pay for is to look at it and be grateful for it and say, this is mastery here. I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not saying this is easy, but even like a negative bank account, looking at it and going, I am not negative in the universe. I am actually creating a lot of currency by being the person that I am, by being lighthearted and loving and kind. Those are all currencies in the universe that you will be rewarded for because it's that momentum. So it's looking at that and just really not letting it be that serious. It's really about not letting it be that serious. And it's about standing in your power to create and saying, okay, this is the situation. I'm not resisting it because this is the situation. So I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to call everybody, tell everybody. I'm not going to put up a Facebook post about it. Instead, I'm going to look at it differently, and I'm going to say, this is awesome because this is the bouncing off place for my future. So it can only get better from here, right? If you're at 0, or even if you're negative, it can only get better now. So I'm here. This is where I am. Where I am is fantastic because where I am is what's calling new things in. It's calling new energies in. It's calling new desire. Desire is really great. Desire is awesome as long as you're not in lack of the manifestation. Desire is your fuel if you are not in the lack of the manifestation. If you are in the lack of the manifestation and you're looking out there and you're going, oh my goodness, this is horrible, this is terrible and traumatic, and you keep talking about it and you're like, we're never going to get ahead and everything's always taking our money and why is everything so hard? If you keep doing that, you're going to keep experiencing the same thing. So you got to start talking your way out of it. You got to start faking it until you make it. And it doesn't mean that you like fake feelings. You actually decide and then you start leaning in the direction of it. I trust. I know I am supported. I feel that my support is coming. I feel that change is coming. All of those things lend to something new. They tell the universe, hey, I'm over here and I'm ready. I'm ready to receive. You cannot be ready to receive when you are fighting against or you're in resistance because you're not in the belief system. You're not in on this wave of creating something new. So I actually got a message from someone and I thought it was so fantastic. And they asked me about family members and negativity within your family. So it was really interesting because I love this person very much. And I was actually discussing this with my husband the other day because we have a family member who tends to share problems consistently throughout the day, right? Almost every single day. And we've been working to shift and to give new ideas and things like that. The challenge with this is if someone is not in the vicinity. So if somebody is like in full range of victim mode, right? Like they just cannot accept responsibility. When you start giving them advice or telling them to take responsibility, they will feel like you're assaulting them. They will feel like you're coming against them, and they will fight you on it. And when you get into this fight with someone, there's no winning, because they are not in the vibrational place to accept your belief system or what you're telling them. They also have to be in a place where they're going to take responsibility for everything. And that is a level of awakening that is beyond many people. Many people in the collective do not want to take that kind of responsibility. It's too scary. They're just not there yet, which is fine. We're all in a different place. So my advice would be, if you have this negative person and you're feeling like you can't shift them and they're consistently dumping. Now, dumping problems is, it's an interesting concept, right? So what I've realized through reading the Celestine Prophecy, which I've shared is like one of my new favorite books, is that that's a control drama that people play out, right? And it's a way for them to kind of take energy from you. So as they're dumping their problems on you, they might actually feel a little bit better, but now you feel worse. So you're taking the energy from them. And that's not really fair, right? One of the things you need to realize about people pleasing, when you see people struggling or they're like in a situation and it's really yucky, is that you weren't the one that brought them there. You weren't the one that created this from them. So you don't need to be the one to save them. That was a big, big, big thing. Let me say it again. When you're talking to somebody and you feel like you need to save them, remember, you were not the one who created this for them. So therefore, you don't owe them a save. And when you do come from this energy of always having to save someone, always wanting to save someone, first of all, that could be an addiction. If you have not watched the show Shrinking on Apple, I highly recommend it. I highly, highly recommend it. It's one of the best shows I think I've ever seen. It's right next to Ted Lasso for me. It might even be above Ted Lasso at this point, but I'm freshly watching this. So one of the therapists actually gets addicted to helping people, right? Because we get that helper's high. We also feel kind of powerful because we're more powerful than them, so we can fix things for them. This is a dangerous game of disempowering those around you and also depleting yourself. So eventually you end up resentful. Eventually you can't fill them up enough, so they end up mad at you because you can't keep doing things for them, because you get tired out, because you're giving all of your energy away. So that is not the way to ridiculous happiness. It is not. It is actually quite the opposite. It may feel good because you get like a dopamine dump. You get those chemicals and hormones, the helper high. But at the end of the day, you may feel empty and you may feel like you can never do enough. And if you are in relationships like that, you will keep manifesting it that way. So my advice with negative people that call you all the time or text you all the time their problems, one thing that I love to do, and I need to do this more because I am advice mama and I feel like I need to give advice all the time. And that's not necessarily true. Sometimes we're inserting our advice where it doesn't belong or where people aren't open to receive it. So the best thing you can do is to start asking questions. What do you want to happen is a great shifter for people. What if you could choose, like, what if you had a crystal ball and you could look inside that crystal ball and you could see the future? Maybe this is a little too woo-woo for some of your negative family members. What would that look like? If you could actually beam a signal, if you could decide what you want for your future, what would it look like? And that's a great shifter. Now, if they're not anywhere in that vicinity and they just continue to dump, you can pull away from the relationship. Now, the family member that I'm in this with, I would never pull away from my relationship because it's just that's not the relationship I want in this experience. But if it is someone who's kind of on the outside and you're not super, super close, you can start to foster some boundaries where maybe you're not answering texts that are negative consistently, right? Like they need to figure out, oh, this person's they're not going to let me suck their energy. They're not going to give me the airtime to do this. It's not an easy conversation sometimes. And sometimes you just need to do it energetically, where you're sending them love, you're sending them light, but you're not taking part in those conversations that are sucking the life out of you. The other thing that I found, especially when you're in conversations with people, strangers, friends, family members, and they're just doing all the talking and they're really just pulling from your energy field, you can feel it. You can feel it. Like you're in the middle of a conversation and somebody's doing all the talking and you're just standing there. One of my thoughts always is like, if I wasn't standing here, they would find somebody else to talk to. So, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I gotta run. It's, you may feel like the rudest person on the planet, but the truth is they will just move on to somebody else. All they need is an ear. It doesn't matter if it's yours or someone else's. So it's not about like being unkind or rude or mean to people. It's about preserving your energetic field. It's about keeping your energetic field high, full of good vibration, and it's about your happiness. And your happiness matters. If you are consistently sacrificing your happiness for other people, you eventually will become resentful. That's the road. That's the road. And like I said, happiness is an inside game. So if other people are looking to you for their happiness, that is a codependent relationship that's going to end up really challenged. And I'm not talking about like a partnership or a marriage where you are literally loving one another and doing something for each other. And it's a very equal back and forth situation. And sometimes maybe it's a little imbalanced because the other person might need more support. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about relationships where you are consistently being dumped on, or when there's like no exchange of energy. You're just giving all the time and they're just taking all the time. Those are the relationships that will never lead you to happiness. They won't, no matter what you think. Being in service is awesome, and being in service is a currency, but it is not a currency when you're doing it to get love or to get acceptance or to try to get something. Service and currency, it only works when we are in the vibration of having more to give, right? Like we're bubbling over. And that's the way I feel when I get messages from people. I do feel like I'm bubbling over and I have extra to give. But if I didn't, sometimes I'll start to, detract from, especially if it's somebody who keeps messaging me, I may start to like detract a little bit from it, or I can feel energy. So, sometimes the misexchange of energy in a relationship causes me to go, this just does not work for me. If anybody ever says to me, I need your energy, I'm like, we're out, because I'm not going to be sucked from, right? Like there's energy vampires and they don't even know they're doing it. I do. And I'm not going to subject myself to that because I want to be bubbling over. I want to be able to be in service in a way of currency and not in detriment. So ask yourself that. Where are you in service? Are you feeling a currency? Does it feel like there's a great exchange in the universe and everything you're doing? I have a guy on my Facebook page. He's so awesome. And he puts up this incredible poetry, and he'll say to me that I give selflessly every single day. And I was like, but I have so many blessings in my life. So I can see the exchange of the currency that I give. It may not come exactly from the people that I give to, but it always comes back to me because I live in that abundance and that belief. And I am never putting things out to receive something back, even though, validation feels great. And when people comment and engage with me and tell me that that was the message they need to hear, it feels awesome. It's not my driving force. So what is your driving force is the question in all of your relationships and in everything you're doing day to day to day, moment to moment. What is the driving force behind this? Am I trying to get something? Am I trying to give something? Am I overflowing with joy? So there are things that you can do every single day. And you guys know I have Mindful Manifestation Secrets daily guide and journal. And the whole idea of this book, which is like this beautiful guide, a daily guide, and then writing prompts and journaling to help heal, right? To help them heal. You can get this on Amazon. This would make a great Christmas gift, with a pretty pen. I should do a pen with this. It would be so, this book to me is just, it's beautiful. Like even the inside, like the things, the guy that designed it with me, like he did such a good job. Oh, look at this. You are not alone. I was just going to step into that. You are not alone. Okay, cool. So our book just told us where we're going next. The feeling of loneliness will never lead you to happiness. And if you've had like a full life, let's say, you had these great relationships or you had these great friendships, and over time they faded or they ended. We have chapters and we learn and grow from people, and oftentimes they end. I have so many friendships that came and went. I have so many family relationships that came and went. If you live in the energy of those past relationships ending, or the breakups or the heartbreaks or the grief of actually somebody transitioning, if you live in the vibration of that, I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone, nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I'm the girl nobody likes, if you're in that vibration, it is very difficult for you to connect with your tribe, right? And plus you don't really want to connect with a tribe when you're feeling that way, because that tribe is going to reflect how you're really feeling inside. So you will feel abandoned, you will feel alone, you will feel like you don't matter. Those are all things that tribe will continue to manifest for you. So if you want to clean that up, it starts within. I have an awesome self-love meditation on YouTube that you can find. I think you can just go to my YouTube channel, Manifest to Live Life Goldyn, and put in meditation, and I think it'll pop up. If not, email me livelifegolden@gmail and I will send it to you. Awesome self-love meditation about forgiveness and loving yourself and recognizing that shitty committee in your head is going against the love that you need to have for yourself if you're going to attract love for yourself. I also think I have a relationship podcast, and I don't have the number for you. I believe it's in season 1 about manifesting the love of your life and the love that you are, because you are love at your core. And if you don't feel like you're love at your core, then you got to do some internal work to find that. If you've gone through some rough relationships, cheating and whatnot, and drama and all of that, this now is about clarification. So all of your new relationships, if they're not lasting, they're only there for clarification. So they're there to help you see exactly what you want and to eliminate some blind spots when it comes to love or relationships. They're there for clarity. So if you haven't found that like love of your life yet, and maybe you're getting up there in years and you're feeling like, where is my love of my life, or where, that's lack. That's lack. So it's about really entertaining yourself in the interim and having a good time and trusting. Everything is about trusting that what you want is coming. That's where happiness really starts, when you trust. And no matter what, unconditional happiness, no matter what's happening in front of you. Now, this doesn't mean you don't have some negative emotion when things go awry. It doesn't mean that. But it means that your foundation, after you do your thing, your little hissy fit, your foundation is of trust and faith. I know this is leading to good. I know this is leading to good. I trust this is leading to good. And if I don't like what's happening right now, I know that as I focus on what I do want is going to become this wave. And I just need to hang out in the space of allowing and receiving, not fighting, not resisting, hanging out in the knowing that it's coming, in the believing that it's coming, even in the hoping. If that's where you're at right now, hoping will lead to believing. It will. But hope it's wonky, because there's a piece of hope that it's like, oh, I really hope so, is not a full conduction of it's coming. So it is still a little bit in that lackful vibration, but it is like you've got to go on the scale. So it is moving you up from feeling like it's never going to happen. So it's not terrible, but it's not the best. But if it is where you are, then it's okay. All right. let me just think for a second. Okay, so there's one more thing about relationships that I want to add that was a message that came to me recently. And it was about someone who's with a partner who they aren't really ecstatic about. They're not exactly like a full match. But apparently they've moved together, so they live in an area where this person only knows people there, and the person they brought with them that they're not their partner, they're not excited about, doesn't really know anybody. So to move them and then break up with them would be kind of crappy, right? Wouldn't make anybody really feel that good. So my suggestion then, my advice, if you're with a partner that's not really ringing your bells, not really getting you to jump out of bed in the morning, part of it is your belief system about them. So you believe that this is the way they are, they're never going to change. People can always change. I have a really great friend who repaired their marriage, and it looked like there was no repairing it. And they came together willingly, and now it's so sweet to see how they have really preserved the marriage that was a long time. It was really cool that they actually both decided that they wanted to do that. So it's possible. But if you're always looking at their detriments, what they don't do, what they can't do, what they're not giving you, then you're creating a vibrational energy and a foundation with that. So my advice would be to start looking for their positive aspects. What's great about them? What do you love about them? What made you fall in love in the first place? What landed you two together? That's a great question. And start feeling those feelings again, and then start adding to the relationship instead of subtracting. So anytime we're looking at people's detriment and what they're not doing for us, we are subtracting from the relationship. So we're pulling energy from the relationship, and the relationship cannot give us a positive wave. It's just going to keep giving us negativity. So what do I love about them? What can I give here to transform this? What can I be here to transform this? Can I be more excited? Can I create events to go out? I'm telling you right now, my husband, there was a time when he really didn't want to go out and do a whole lot of things. And he's working hard all week long. The weekend comes and I'm like, woohoo, let's go. Over time, letting go of that, he never wants to do anything with me, letting that completely go, and then being my happy, excited self has transformed what we do. We do things all with concerts and comedians, and we're going out to dinner and doing all these things. But it's not just me driving it anymore, because I let go of believing that he never wanted to do anything. It's so transformative. So now, if it is like, if he wants to stay home on the weekend because he's worked hard or whatever and he's tired, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with where I am. I'm not fighting against it and being like, oh, I also feel like sometimes fun can be a little bit of an addiction for me. Can you relate? I like to go have fun, right? But it can become a little bit of an addiction where you're like looking for that little dopamine rush of going out and feeling like your life is exciting, right? So now when we have weekends that there's not a lot going on, I'm okay with being home, and I kind of love it. And I love my house. So I kind of revel in that. So where are you at on that scale with your partner? And what's the signal that you're sending? You can't send a signal from a past that you don't like and get a future that you do. Okay, somebody quote me on that. You can't send a signal from your past and create a future that you like, unless you like your past. Okay, so you have to beam a new signal. You have to decide a new thing. Okay, this is it. I'm going to live life like it's an adventure, and I'm going to have a great time. And if you have a partner that is really resistant to you, and you kind of let it all go and you let the beliefs go that they're never going to do it with you, and they still don't do it with you, then you have to start making decisions. Is there an exchange of energy here? Are we a good match? You don't have to be aligned on everything to be a good match. I had a woman a long, long time ago that I was coaching, and she told me all these things about her partner. And she kept telling me that it didn't feel like it was enough and she was going to leave him. And what we did was we shifted it. helped her to see the positive aspects. Like, this guy was fantastic. He really was. Like, everything she told me, I was like, people would kill to have a guy that you have. Like, he's really great. So getting her to see that instead of focusing on the things that he wasn't doing, and unfortunately, I can't remember what he wasn't doing. I don't know if it was like a chemistry thing but she started seeing him differently and communicating with him about what she needed and wanted, and he met her, and they're still together. This was like 15 years ago. So it was pretty cool to be part of that shift for her, so that she didn't let go of a guy who was really fantastic, that she could really enjoy her life with. So make sure that the partner that you have right now is absolutely, like, married or not, if you're in a long-term relationship, you're living together, your lives are really engaged, especially if you have children or you're married and you have been for a long time, I would stop at nothing to make sure that this wasn't the right person. Because going back out there in the land of freedom and dating, from what I heard, I don't want to send negative energy to that field for you, but from what I've heard, right? It's easier to work with what you have than to work with the unknowns. So really give it all you got. That will lead you to happiness in a couple of ways. If you give everything you've got to this relationship and work on shifting and manifesting the relationship you want, you may end up with an incredible relationship that is easy, because then you don't have to, change your lifestyles. Or you will have so much clarity about this not being the right relationship that you will not be in confusion anymore. Confusion leads to failure, because confusion doesn't allow you to make decisions that support what you really want. So getting clear is the very, very first thing. People talk all the time about make a list. What's working? What's not working? What do you need to work on? Getting clarity is huge, because it will help you to alleviate those blind spots. Blind spots could very well be things that you're not seeing that are good. Blind spots are not always necessarily something that you're not, that's bad. Sometimes there's things that you're not recognizing that are good. You're taking things for granted, and you're not realizing that having this partner with you is really fulfilling something. Otherwise, you wouldn't be together. You never would have landed together. There's always a reason why you landed with someone. And it's important to know what that reason was, to know if the chapter has ended or not, so that you're not just throwing people away and then having no clarity, right? So you break up with somebody. You have no clarity about what went wrong in that situation. And then you get in a new relationship and you create almost the same thing with somebody else. So it's really good to use, now this is a terrible thing, like way to put it, but use the relationships that you're in to gain the most expansion and growth. What can I learn from this? What is this calling me to? Where is my growing edge? Where is my stuff in this? You guys know that's like my favorite question to ask. That one question has made my marriage a million times better, because I was the type of person who was like, it's your fault. You're doing this. I don't feel good, and it's your fault, because I was looking for happiness outside of myself, which is easy to do when you find your partner at 12 years old, to be like, okay, you need to fill me up because I feel really inadequate, right? So big journey, big journey. And now there are no discrepancies in our relationship. There's no detriments in our relationship, because we both come to the table whole and healed and loved, supported, and there's no lack in that. But that's been a journey of growth and looking at our stuff and communicating and talking and expressing, not necessarily what's not working, but focusing more on what is, so that the stuff that isn't working can start to heal, we can start to grow and heal from that. Okay, awesome. I think I covered everything that people reached out to me about. So if you do have a question, livelifegolden@gmail.com, or you can inbox me on Facebook or Instagram. I would love to hear from you. I think this co-creative content stuff is really magical, and I think it helps the whole collective, because if you're going through it, there's other people going through it. I always say this, like, we're all going through the same life. like in various different ways and different aspects. We experience a lot of the same things because we're in the same collective. So we're all kind of growing, not necessarily at the same rate, but we are all growing. We're all growing to complement one another. I really believe that. Connection, relationships are super duper important. The other piece of this, if you are experiencing a lot of negative people around you, cranky people at the grocery store, you got people calling you, complaining, check on your vibe because, right? Your vibe attracts your tribe. So check on your vibe. Are you complaining a lot? Are you miserable a lot? Are you mad a lot? Are you not conducting from joy? Are you not feeling that high feeling of being really excited about life and feeling like life is precious? The best way to work with that is to start meditating in the morning, 10 to 15 minutes. You can put on soft music. You can put on a guided meditation. I personally am really into silence right now. And I just call in energy. So I call in energy of healing, and I'll do a little exercise at the end to show you how to do that, because I really believe we've got to fill ourselves up to walk out into the day like at our best self. Fill yourself back up. You can fill yourself up with that non-physical energy at any time you decide. Meditation is really important. It's going to gain you the space. It's going to gain you the awareness. It's going to allow you to start having choices about what you decide. It's going to help you to heal. It's going to do so many things. It's going to train your brain to get out of those lower neural pathways and to start having a choice to choose the higher ones. So it kind of cleans the slate. It's that eraser of the chalkboard that you're looking for. So once you get a dialed in practice, I work on this every single day. I'm not perfect at it, but man, am I pretty committed to it. I actually look really forward to it because no one's asking you to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You can just be. I really look forward to that. Second is gratitude and appreciation. If you can do gratitude and appreciation for everything and everyone and always look for the bright side, then you're winning. Like if you can always say something good is coming from this, everything always works out for me, I expect good things to happen, you're going to start beaming that signal. And you can say it before you truly believe it or feel it. You can just start saying it to retrain your neural pathways to start to believe you. You got to start somewhere. So even if it feels fake or it feels phony, just saying it over and over again can help quell anxiety, can help chill you out. One of the things that I do that really calms me down about other people, especially if you have an overactive imagination or you watch like crazy crap on TV, if I have a thought about my kids, like they're doing something, like my daughter last night went roller skating and she's 21. Okay. She's 21. But like my instant thought when I hear roller skating, and I love to roller skate, I really do have a healthy fear of roller skating. Let's put it that way, a healthy fear, right? The minute she says that, I'm like, oh, okay. And I went right to, okay, surround her in angels and protect her and keep her safe. Because if I didn't do that, I would have gone down this road of be careful. And when we tell people to be careful, we are inserting our negativity into their experience because we're like, ooh, watch out. Bad things might happen, right? We don't want to conduct like that. That's like old school mothering. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to inspire them to have fun and to be free. And we want to surround them in angels. And I do that with my kids so often, especially if they're not home before I go to sleep. I have really never waited up for my kids. I've always just trusted them. And that's the other thing. If you beam a signal of trust to your kids, they will rise up to meet it. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them. I remember getting into this thing with my parents when I was like 13. And I was hanging out with these guys and they were really old. I can't even believe how old they were. I think they were like 18 and 19, but they told us they were like 16. But one of the guys had like a beard, right? So obviously he was older than he said he was. And my parents knew it. So my parents grounded me from him and this other guy, which was really a good move, like thinking back. And they said, if he shows up, now this is back in the day, we used to go to the bowling alley. That's what we did for fun. We went to the bowling alley. God, does that make me sound like a country bumpkin? They said, if he shows up at the bowling alley, we trust you. We trust. This is probably one of the only times my parents said this to me or felt this about me. We trust that you'll call us. And that was huge. I will never forget how that made me feel, to the point that when he showed up, I called them and they came and got me. Huge, parents, huge. It's easy to distrust your kids because you come from what you were doing, right? All the crap you were doing, and you put it on them, and they haven't even done anything to deserve your distrust yet. Or maybe they have. And if you want to come back from that and you want them to rise up to being in a state of where you can trust them, you have to say, I trust you. I want to trust you. I'm going to trust you. I am in trust of you. Those are really, you know, there's a saying out there that I love, and I think I used it a couple of weeks ago. It was this guy, Brandon Dawson, I was listening to, and he talks about riding at the speed of trust, where you are just in full force trust with what the universe is delivering to you, that support, that love, that protection, whatever it is that you need. So surrounding my kids and angels helps me to be a ridiculously happy person because I am never lending myself to worrying about them. I am never giving away my energy of worry and fear and distrust of their path, because everything that's happening to your kids, to your family, to your partner, to your friends, to your coworkers, all of those things are designed for their expansion and growth, for their wake-up calls. And nothing teaches you in life better than those lessons, better than making mistakes or screwing up or whatever. Right? So in order to be happy, you tune yourself into gratitude and appreciation. You look for more reasons to feel the awe and preciousness of life. You pay attention to the sun rising. You pay attention to the sunset. You pay attention to, today I saw a hummingbird. I know I live in California. It's like 77 degrees today. I'm sorry. I promised I would never be that girl, but I want to be that girl sometimes because I want to show people what's possible. I lived in the East Coast for my entire life and moved here when I was like 41, 42. So I remember what that was like. And now to have a December where I'm in a tank top, it feels incredible, right? It feels better than it would have if I never lived in Connecticut. Like I know a lot of Californians that take that for granted. But I saw a hummingbird on our poinsettia. I was like, oh, it's a Christmas hummingbird. How cool is that? I would not have noticed that if I was in the hustle and bustle of working and trying to get things done and rushing around and being stressed out. My post today on Facebook, which didn't go to Instagram, I don't know why Instagram is not copying and pasting for me anymore. My post today was all about, are you too stressed to be blessed? If you're in the vibration of stress, you are not in the vibration of blessings. So you'll miss them. You'll miss those opportunities that are so ripe and ready for you. All right, let's jump into some, this went really fast. I love when this happens because it's like I'm flowing. Let's just jump into a quick little healing so I can share with you how to pull in healing energy. So if you're driving, wait till later. And if you're sitting, just close your eyes and take a deep breath with me. And let it out. And when you let it out, just let out tension. So breathing in, we breathe in peace, we breathe in energy, we breathe in goodness, and breathing out, we breathe out tension or stress or worry or all that overwhelmment. Yeah, really empty your lungs and breathe deeply and not shallow. That's how you clear your energy of stress, is by breathing deeply. Because when you breathe deeply, it sends signals to your whole body that you are here to relax. You are here to be present. You are here to really allow the oxygen to activate some wonderful things in your body. So breathing in and breathing out. That's why sighing feels really good sometimes, right? Sighing actually, it activates a message within you that says, it's time to let go. It's time to relax. if you're sighing correctly. If you're sighing because you're like, ugh, that's the wrong kind of sighing. The sighing I'm talking about is the releasing of tension. All right. So opening up your crown chakra, we open up to love and light. We open up to healing. We call on all dimensional planes, well-being, and we call in this beautiful light of healing. You should feel it come all the way through the center of your body, bringing all this beautiful energy up, filling you up, filling your cup up with all this love and light and lightheartedness and energy from beyond. So this is the infinite intelligence energy of all that is, all that exists, all that you are an expression of, all that you are connected to, and all that you may forget about. So this is a remembering, a great remembering of all this beautiful energy you have access to. Anytime you close your eyes, anytime you ask, anytime you open yourself up to receive. So open yourself up to receive. Open your heart. Open your awareness. Open your third eye to stronger intuition, to knowing, to believing, to having faith. Open up your heart to receiving love and activating the love that you are. Ooh, activating the power that you are below your heart, in your belly, activating that power, that self-confidence, that self-expression, that self-actualization of knowing who you are. And knowing that all the past and all the wounds, yes, they made you strong. Yes, they made you who you are today, but they aren't who you continue to want to be. So we ask for that to be let go of. Yeah. Imagine you're holding a rope or a tether, and that's your past. Imagine you're holding it over your head and it's tugging on you. Just feel the tug of the past. And as it's tugging, just imagine, maybe you're holding it with both arms. I just saw both hands holding this like really, really thick rope, like that rope we used to go on the gym class, right? Used to climb that silly rope with its knots. And just let it go. Yeah, let it go. Let go of the heaviness, let go of the trauma, let go of the negativity. Just let it go. And it's gone. It's literally being sucked away from the vacuum of the universe. And here you are, you're feeling lighter, you're feeling energy, you're feeling good, you're feeling vital because you're not dragging that around with you. You are here to create the future now, to be in this present moment, to decide to activate the preciousness of life, the awe, the wonder, the fun, the beauty, the connection, the love, the relationships, the really, really, really good stuff. So just for a moment, like flashes, I just want you to flash through your mind. Just see yourself in different roles, in different manifestations. Maybe you see material things. Maybe you just feel feelings. Maybe you're on vacation. Just allow yourself to spend a little time sending that energetic signal to that thing that you are so interested in creating. That is already done. The fact that you have the vision means it's already created. And now you just have to let go and follow the energy to it. Activate it, be with it, know it's coming, and be excited about what is unfolding. Feel that healing all the way through your body, activating all of your cells and wellness and well-being. If you have had any pain, just bring extra light to those areas. If you've had grief, bring extra light to your heart and your lungs. That's where grief is held. And just let that light surround you all the way around you, wrapping you up in this warm blanket of love and trust, surrender. and joy, happiness and joy. Knowing that as you beam a signal to happiness and joy, more of it has to come. So just take a couple of deep breaths, coming back. You can continue if you want to just sit in silence for a little while and let that marinate. That is the end of my show. This is a really great show. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it answered your questions. And if not, send me a message because we are co-creating this together and it's one of my favorite things. All right. I love y'all. Peace out.